Hey, what's going on today, guys? I wanted to put an omnibus on your radar. It's getting a reprint at the end of November, but I wanted to do an overview of it now so you can go ahead and pre-order it because, look, I'm going to tell you, it's near and dear to my heart. It's the very first omnibus I ever picked up. It's one of my favorite comic book characters and characters ever in general. It is the Ultimate Spider-Man omnibus by Brian Michael Bendis and Mark Bagley. So without further ado, let's take a look at this amazing book. All right, and for you spine lovers, there it is. This book right here, that is the Ultimate Spider-Man Omnibus Spine. As you can see, it's got a pretty little volume 1 right there, but we never got the volume 2. So please, it's one of the reasons I'm making this video. Please, pre-order the book so we can get a volume 2 finally. It deserves it. It's such great material. I guarantee you, you will love it. Here is the very dope dust jacket that this omnibus has. And as I, open this up, you're going to notice, as I take the dust jacket off, you're going to notice this is like classic Marvel Omnibus, like pleather style, red pleather. So in the newer printing, they will probably have some cool artwork here, hopefully wrapping around. But yeah, see, that we're not going to have that for the new printing. I like this, but I do like the art a lot too, so that is a change that I didn't really care about. All right, so let's actually get into the content of this now. All right, so what is this omnibus? Why should you care? And why is it probably one of the best omnibuses that you can pick up as a hardcore Spider-Man fan or as someone who wants to get into Spider-Man? Well, to put it simply, this is Marvel's Ultimate Universe. And the Ultimate Universe is different from Marvel's main continuity, which is the 616 universe. This was sort of Marvel's opportunity in the early 2000s, I think is when these are written, to, reboot their franchises a little bit and do a bit of a more modern take on Spider-Man. Now, I'm saying modern, and like the early 2000s was around 20 years ago. But, that's a lot more modern, and it's going to be a lot more up-to-date than, looking at Steve Ditko's or Stan Lee's, original Spider-Man origin story would be. So basically, this is just that retelling. And then, there are slight deviations. It splits away from the typical Spider-Man canon, but it maintains the same sensibilities that you would have in any Spider-Man run. So, you've got all your main characters here. You've got Spider-Man, Peter Parker, you've got Flash Thompson, you've got Aunt May, you've got Mary Jane, you've got Gwen Stacy, and, Spider-Man, notoriously known for his insane rogues gallery, because all of his villains are excellent, and we get some that are very familiar to us in this omnibus, and then we get some takes on the villains that are a little more, I don't want to say they're better, but they're different, they're updated, they're envisioned in a new light. For example, one of the ones that probably has one of the bigger differences in this omnibus is Venom, who is not an alien symbiote, but a sort of, I don't know, like a cancer-curing suit. That was the intention, at least. That sort of just feeds off of people's energy. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but he's different. Kraven the Hunter has sort of a different take in this, too. He's sort of like this big television guy who's kind of a phony. They do amazing work with Dr. Octopus and his storylines in this. They really show that he is a force to be reckoned with, and he's not just some goofy old guy with tentacle arms. Not that he's been so goofy in other Spider-Man stuff, but I just remember very much enjoying all the Dr. Octopus stuff that was in this omnibus. And the artwork, the interiors here, they're really awesome. Maybe this isn't a style that you like, but I really enjoy it. And like I said, this was the first main Marvel comic book that I read, aside from Marvel Zombies, I guess, which is really, that's what I first picked up ever, and my mom bought it for me. But this is the first omnibus that I ever got, and the first big Spider-Man storyline that I ever got. And we go through the classic stuff here, like Uncle Ben dying. It's like the Amazing Spider-Man Tobey Maguire movie where he fights the wrestler. You've got all that stuff in here. And then, boom, we're slowly starting to get, the villains coming in. All the Kingpin stuff is really great. The Green Goblin stuff is really great. And I really like the Spider-Man because, he's just a high school student and he feels very, very in over his head. And it is suspenseful and it's heartbreaking at times. It's very, very funny also, though. Check it out. That's the Green Goblin in the Ultimate Universe. He's not just the dude wearing a mask, or he's not just the dude with the crazy face. He's actually sort of a Hulk abomination type beast. And I'm not saying that's a better variation of the character. I'm just saying it's different. We got a unique vision for some of these characters in this book, and that was really fun. And man, does he look cool though. Like, come on. And man, does Spider-Man look cool. I really like the way Mark Bagley draws Spider-Man in this. So good. But yeah, seriously, if you're like a first-time comic book reader, or if you want to get into the Omnibus game, or if you want to learn more about Spider-Man, this is the Omnibus to pick up that's coming out. I mean, especially if you're not that interested in like sort of Silver Age older stuff, and you want something that's a little easier to read and a little more modernized, then yeah, definitely pick this one up. I mean, it's Spider-Man. He's got the best rogues gallery. He's got the best quips. The art is great. The story is good. I mean, some people probably say it falls off a bit towards the end, but not towards the end of this omnibus. That'd probably be towards the end of a second omnibus, which I'm hoping we do get, as I've said. The love story in this is great. I mean, guys, this has something for everyone. It's got romance. It's got action. It's got comedy. It's got tragedy. Like, if you're not picking this up, what are you doing? What do you like to read? Because this has it all. It's got mystery. There's crime thriller stuff in here. And like I said, the romance is good. Dr. Octopus right there. What have you done to me? That's my Dr. Octopus impression, I guess. A lot of high school stuff, which is really fun. Dr. Octopus looking like a bamf. Awesome Spider-Man covers. Dr. Octopus going a little insane. He's a big part of this. Him and the Green Goblin, I say, are probably the two bigger villains in this book. And then Venom towards the end, but they don't spend, so much time on Venom. And, they sort of, they changed the canon with Eddie Brock and Spider-Man's parents and all that too, which you'll find out. And, they sort of update. Look at that. That is awesome. That is such great artwork. That's very iconic. As I was saying, they sort of update, certain things like Spider-Man working for the Daily Bugle. He's not a photographer. He is, the website editor, because that's probably more likely what a high school student would do in modern times, instead of, going out and actually getting in the field as a 16-year-old snapping photos. This book, it's great in all its characterization. I mean, it does a lot with the cast, and I think that's really important for a Spider-Man book, because Spider-Man is someone who is so affected and so loves the people in his life, so we have to get to know them, and we have to love them for all of the tragedy and all of the suspense to, really take place. And I think that this book does that very, very well. Did I mention it's funny? Because it's really, really funny. There is literally a moment where Spider-Man is, facing the Kingpin, and I think he pulls out like a note card and he starts reading some quips that he'd come up with. And now, let's get something straight. It's funny in a way that isn't like kind of stupid or random like Deadpool can be at times. Deadpool fans, sorry, don't come barging down my door. Just sometimes, they can do overkill with Deadpool that they don't really normally do with Spider-Man. I will say Brian Michael Bendis, hate the man or love the man, but he knows how to write Spider-Man. Awesome Venom artwork. That Venom looks gnarly in this. It's really cool. In the black suit, of course, although it's more of a purple here, but we won't fault them for that because it's pretty much black. Really cool stuff. And I'm excited that you guys get to experience this for the first time, or that you get to revisit this. And please, like I said, pre-order it so we can get a Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 2, Ultimate Spider-Man that is, because they made a Death of Ultimate Spider-Man Omnibus, which would be like Omnibus Volume 3, but they just never made the frickin' Volume 2. And I've read that content. It's really good. Here's some extras in the back. There's also, for those interested in writing comic books, I think there's like partially a script of Brian Michael Bendis having written an issue. All right, guys. That is the video.